In the heart of the Middle East, a storm is brewing. Escalating tensions between the US and Iran-backed groups in Syria. The situation is growing increasingly volatile, with strikes becoming more frequent and the number of US troops suffering from traumatic brain injuries on the rise. These injuries, often the result of attacks from these Iran-supported groups, serve as a stark reminder of the harsh realities of conflict. The Iran-backed groups operate with a certain level of audacity, their actions boldly challenging the presence of US forces. Their objectives, aligned with those of Iran, present a complex and multifaceted challenge to the US and its interests in the region. The support Iran extends to these groups is far-reaching, enabling them to engage in a variety of operations, from launching attacks on US forces to exploiting resources. It is a power play that continues to fuel the flames of conflict and raises questions about the future stability of the region. The consequences of these escalating tensions are not just physical. The mental and emotional toll on the brave men and women serving their country is substantial. As the strikes multiply, the scars of war deepen not just on the ground, but also in the minds of those brave men and women serving their country. The chronicles of this conflict tell a tale of increasing hostilities and aggression. Our journey begins in 2021 as the US carries out strikes against Iran-backed militias in Syria. This action sets the stage for a series of escalating tensions and military actions that continue to this day. The first strike was met with retaliation, and Gulf stock markets felt the effects, with indices in Abu Dhabi and Dubai falling due to the resurgence of the conflict. The US response was swift, with 2 more strikes on Iran-backed groups in Syria. This marked a significant escalation, as it was the 3rd such attack in just 2 weeks. The conflict is not confined to a single region. Skirmishes between US forces and Iran-aligned militias have been on the rise in Syria's oil-rich eastern province of Deir al-Zor. This province, divided by the Euphrates River and populated by tribes with ties to Iraq, has become a strategic hotspot in this ongoing conflict. In 2023, the situation took a turn for the worse. Following Iran-backed attacks in Syria, 6 US service members were diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries. This incident echoed the events of 2020, when over 100 service members were diagnosed with similar injuries after an Iranian missile attack in Iraq. The rising number of strikes has strategic implications beyond the immediate conflict. For instance, Iran's ability to transfer people, goods, and military equipment across multiple countries is causing concern in Israel. This corridor, controlled by Iran and its proxies, extends from the eastern front with Iraq to the western border with Lebanon. The rising number of strikes paints a grim picture of a brewing conflict that shows no signs of slowing down. Behind the numbers and the strategic maneuvers, there's a human cost that often goes unnoticed. The toll of these strikes on US troops is stark, and it's not only measured in immediate casualties. The insidious nature of traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, means that the impact can be felt long after the smoke clears. In the wake of Iran-backed attacks in Syria, 6 US service members were diagnosed with TBIs. These injuries, often dismissed as mild concussions, can have debilitating symptoms that persist, impacting the lives of these service members in profound ways. In the year 2020, over 100 service members were diagnosed with TBIs following an Iranian missile attack in Iraq. This is a clear testament to the human cost of such conflicts. It's not only about the geopolitical chess game, it's about the men and women who serve on the front line, putting their lives and health on the line. These people are more than just uniformed figures on a battlefield. They are sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, friends and neighbors. Each one carries a story, dreams, and a life put on hold. Each one bears the weight of an escalating conflict far from home in the pursuit of duty and service. These are not just soldiers on a battlefield. They are sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, bearing the brunt of an escalating conflict. As the dust settles on the battlefield, the question that lingers is, what's next? We've journeyed through the rising tensions, the chronicles of conflict, and the human toll that this escalating situation has taken. The repeated strikes on Iran-backed groups in Syria by the US, the 3rd in a span of just 2 weeks, mark a significant escalation in the conflict. The US troops have faced approximately 48 attacks in both Syria and Iraq, carried out by Iran-backed militias. The increasing frequency of these strikes highlights the potential for this conflict to intensify further, amidst an already tense geopolitical climate. As we look ahead, Several possible scenarios could unfold. The skirmishes could escalate into a full-blown conflict, or diplomatic efforts could steer the situation towards a peaceful resolution. Yet the current state of affairs, with its volatile mix of power dynamics, regional rivalries, and strategic interests, paints a complex picture. The stakes are high, not just for the US and Iran, but for the entire region, and indeed the world. The repercussions of these actions will be felt far and wide, shaping the future of international relations and potentially redefining the contours of power in the Middle East. As the world watches, the future of this conflict hangs in the balance, a grim reminder of the cost of war and the price of peace.